Blessed be the name of the Lord. Dear friends, in our life we all struggle with trials and temptations. And I feel it is important for us to understand the difference between trials and temptations so that we can accept trials in our life with strong faith in the Lord and reject and resist temptations for us to grow into the perfection of our faith in God. Now trials. Trials in our life come from various forms, and they typically come in the form of an outside force beyond the individual's control, such as sickness, job loss, difficulties and struggles in life, natural calamities, etc. The life of Job can be the best example of the testing of faith and trials in the Bible. The source of trials are basically from the result of living in a fallen human world. And this fallen human world, anything can happen to us. Even now, we are confronted with a lot of life-threatening situations. Sometimes God uses all these trials to test our faith, like Abraham. And the purpose of trials is to refine our life and faith in God. And triumphing trials lead to the perfection of our faith in God. On the other hand, temptations come from the internal force, from within the individual's heart. This is the difference between trials and temptations. Trials come from outside force, whereas temptations come from the internal force. And a person is tempted by his or her own desires. That's why in James chapter 1 verse 14 it says, "But each person is tempted when he or she is lured and enticed by his or her own desires." Therefore, the source of temptation is from our own desires. It is the problem of our human nature. And David's sin is the greatest example of a temptation. We all know David, he succumbed to lust when he saw the beautiful woman Bathsheba. Now let us see what James has to tell us, especially in chapter 1. James tells us that we are to count it pure joy when trials come in our life. Verse 2. And trials test our faith. Verse 3. Trials develop perseverance. Verse 3. Trials lead to maturity and wholeness, lacking in nothing. Verse 4. Trials provide opportunity for us to trust God and also to prove our faith in Him. Trials provide opportunity for us to examine the measure of our faith and see how strong we are in the Lord. Trials also provide opportunity for us to keep His promises to us. God also has promised a crown of life for those who triumph over trials. Therefore, trials are good things, a blessing for the people of God, an opportunity for us to rely on God and grow in the Lord and experience His divine intervention and touch in life. Trials reveal the goodness of God. Let us count it pure joy when trials come in our life. When it comes to temptations, temptations are a matter of internal force, as I've mentioned. They come from our own lust. And James tells us that temptations do not come from God, because God never tempted us. Verse 13. God also cannot be tempted by evil. The source of temptations is from our own desire. Verse 14. Temptations give birth to sin and death. Verse 15. Temptations are evil and have evil motive. Temptations are deceptive. Temptations leave us empty. Temptations reveal our sinful heart. So how do we respond to these temptations in our life? The Bible tells us to flee from temptations. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 22. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 18. And the Bible also tells us to resist the evil, to resist the temptations. James chapter 4 verse 7. How we handle temptations in our life is a good indicator of our spiritual development. We should not allow these temptations to destroy our spiritual life. Rather, we should ask God for help. We should seek God's strength to resist and flee from temptations so that we can grow into the likeness of Christ. Finally, trials will surely come on our way. Let us be strong in the Lord and endure to the end so that we all will receive the crown of life which God has promised to all of us. And temptations will try to pull us down and separate us from the presence of God. But we should not allow these temptations to destroy us, to defeat us. Rather, we should resist and flee with the power of God so that we can grow strong in the Lord. We can grow into the perfection of our faith in Him. Dear friends, may God be gracious to us as we battle these two forces in our lives to live a victorious life for His glory alone. God bless all of us.